So anyway, hi and welcome back. It's been a
Hello.
few because, things going on and such.
And I am in my location in the witness protection program. So this is my incognito location.
My background's moving. Okay, so lead poisoning tends to be cumulative, and it is most harmful to young children whose brains haven't completely developed yet, and pregnant persons, in which case it can lead to affecting the developing fetus. Lead in the bones of the mother can also be released from her bones into the fetus if the mother was exposed in the past. So common culprits over the years have included exposure to lead paint, including children eating the paint on toys and in homes since it has a sweet taste, and exposure to lead that originated in leaded gasoline.
Ooh, pick me, pick me.
What?
So, this is funny, and I always wondered what was going on when I was pregnant with my kids. I always give you like this weird questionnaire, and they ask like, have you been craving like ice chips, paint chips, dirt, stuff like that. We'll have to look it up, I'm sure, and put it up here. There is something to do with craving it or
Mm-hmm.
something when you're pregnant. It's weird. And yeah, pregnant women like eat paint chips with lead in them. Yeah,
Well, that's a problem, yeah.
sorry. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
So, children also tend to absorb more of the lead into their bodies than adults do, leading to greater health impacts with the same amount of exposure. The lead affects multiple organs like the brain, liver, kidneys, and bones. It is stored in bones and teeth and can be released from these and impact other organs. Lead exposure is tested through blood levels. No amount of lead is considered safe. Mining, manufacturing, and recycling activities can also expose people to lead. Water that has passed through lead pipes, or pipes soldered with lead, can lead to lead contamination in the drinking water. Some sources of lead are water that has passed through lead pipes, pipes soldered with lead. Lead can be inhaled from materials containing lead being burned, paint being stripped, exposure to leaded airplane fuel, or it can be ingested by way of dust, contaminated water, or food. Lead has been
I
phased
know
out.
another source.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when your grandpa says it's okay, just bite it on the line with your teeth. And it was a lead sinker. Oh my God, my grandpa used to have me do that all the time when I was a kid. Like we'd be out fishing. He's like, "Oh yeah, just use your teeth."
Mm,
Thanks,
yeah,
Grandpa.
yeah, I'm sure, like, so many
Yes.
things. So, lead has been phased out of gasoline in most countries, and lead control measures have been implemented. This has led to a decline in the general population's exposure, but only 41% of countries have controlled the use of leaded paint. However, this doesn't totally eliminate sources of lead already out there, such as in houses or in the water supply, as evidenced by the recent Flint water crisis. The gaming supplement company G Fuel was found to have trace amounts of lead recently. In April 2018, Gamma Enterprises settled a $118,500 lawsuit with California's Environmental Research Center due to its lead contamination. 18 of the samples tested were found to have lead content large enough to require warning labels due to Proposition 65. Some Mexican candies were found to contain lead, such as my favorite Pulparindo candy, and I didn't throw them away. I have them here.
Well, there was this huge recall. I remember like a few years ago when they had to do a recall on Pokemon Valentines that were manufactured in China. And you know what I'm talking about, like the kind you take to school when you're a kid,
Mhm.
and it has like a lollipop in it.
Yeah.
So it's like the Valentine card. And yeah, all of the Pokemon lollipops tested positive for lead. Like, so
But yeah, this is a Pulparindo, and they come in different ones. They have like
lead flavor.
they have lead flavor, and well, no, they're supposed to be like mango and watermelon and chili flavor. What else do I have? I have chili covered, and why I like them is because they're chili covered and they're fruit, and chili is good on fruit.
Grandpa's fishing line. That's
Oh
the
God,
mystery flavor.
it makes it sweeter, you know.
Right?
Oh God.
Mentioning the sweet thing, I didn't think about it, but yeah, like it makes me wonder, when they were asking me that questionnaire, one of the things is I had gestational diabetes. at one point, and so I wonder if that has any correlation.
Hmm.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Pulparindo candy, a tamarind-flavored candy. The amount in the tested sample increased between 2008 and 2018 from 0.01 ppm to 0.05 ppm. Rockaletta lollipops and candies were found in the study to have even more than the pulparindos at 0.10 ppm, parts per million, in 2018. Though these aren't extremely high, repeated exposure could lead to health problems in people who eat them. In the quoted study sample, young children from the ages of 3 to 6 reported eating anywhere from 3 to 32 pieces of the candy every day. Every day.
Yeah. Wow.
The study posits that the lead in the candy may come from the ingredients, the containers they are made in, or the wrapper. The Orange County Register Excelsior from California reported that the powdered chili used may be the culprit. Many Mexican candies have fruit-flavored hard candy or liquid, as well as chili powder and a bit of salt.
I meant to send you a link the other day. It actually, I can't remember where it was now, but it was talking about lead contamination in spices. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they were naming like cumin, curry, like a bunch of your basic kitchen cooking spices.
Oh,
I will
God.
get you that link. But yeah, I just read that the other day and I was like, oh man, like I need to send this to Amy. And of course I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really common in, like a lot of different brands too. There's like level of lead is an unsafe level, but like, yeah, some of these are
But it's just out there and it gets into things.
Yes. So,
But yeah, the chili powder and salt is like why it appeals to me more than non-Mexican candy, because I like chili powder, and that's also could be where it comes from, right?
Right.
So some lead has also been found in candy and food items like chocolate or turmeric powder. So I've got the spices in here also.
Oh yeah, turmeric's one of the other ones. Yeah,
Wow.
and I know curry or yellow curry, and
All my
I
favorite
know
things.
cumin was another one. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, mine too. Mine too. So
lead exposure in children can have permanent impacts, such as affecting the brain and nervous system. It can also cause long-term damage in adults exposed to lead, increasing the risks of ailments like high blood pressure and kidney damage. During pregnancy, it can also cause miscarriage, stillbirth, premature birth, and low birth weight. Long-term exposure can cause high blood pressure and impact nearly every organ in the body. Younger people tend to have more issues with behavioral problems, learning deficits, and lowered performance in IQ tests. It can also cause anemia, serious damage to the kidneys and liver, reduced fertility, blood damage, and damage to the nervous system. Changes in blood cells have also been seen microscopically. The CDC has set the standard elevated blood level for adults at 10 milligrams per deciliter and at 5 milligrams deciliter for children. The manifestations can vary between individuals. Children are more at risk because their brains and bodies have not yet finished developing. Beethoven's hair has been analyzed, and it was suggested that he died from lead poisoning due to lead-based treatments, which is doctor-administered. Lead was illegally added to wine as a sweetener and to make it appear fresher in the 18th and 19th centuries, so they just dumped it in the wine.
yeah, sure, why not?
It is also
doesn't it also lead to insanity too?
That's what I was getting to. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
It has also been suggested to be the reason for the collapse of the Roman Empire, which was off because it was used in the wine. So, like, people got more violent and nutty. And what's his name?
I'm batshit crazy.
Simon Whistler's channels have like some good videos on this, talking about the ancient Roman Empire and how this may have led to gladiators and shit.
It's not testosterone, it's lead.
Also, lead and cadmium has been found in counterfeit cigarettes in the U.S. by law enforcement agencies, and these were much higher than the levels in non-counterfeit samples. So apparently it's also in cigarettes in some level.
Yeah, probably. Dude, I'm pretty sure you'll find floor dirt in cigarettes.
Yeah.
Might just like sweep it up and chuck it in the...
Well, I imagine it's also just from the soil and the tobacco and such. It could be,
Yeah.
And old houses still have quite a bit of lead paint in them. This should not be removed through sanding, because this releases it as dust into the air, and then you're going to breathe it in, where it can be inhaled. And some traditional and Ayurvedic medicines have been found to be contaminated with heavy metals as well.
Now, I know when my kids were younger, man, they were like at the pediatrician every year for like a while. They would always do their like lead test. And I know at least here in the area where we're at, they pretty much keep on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And grateful for that, yes.
Yes.
I got paranoid after watching the Into the Shadows channel's videos, and I went down to the basement, and I'm like looking at the pipes, and like it's copper, you know.
Right. Yeah, mine are all flex lines, so no lead pipes here. That was something that growing up, that was always a big deal. You know, even in the house that my mom bought, the first thing she had done was make sure every pipe in the house that our water and everything was in was all PVC. You know, which, I mean, at that point in time, is it really any better? Because it was like, you know, BPA. Yeah, like the lesser of two evils at that point, I think, is BPA. Mm-hmm. So,
you know, money and things. And so many of these documentaries go into that, like how people just pass the buck, you know.
Right.
Like, it's not my problem. Just I'm not going to talk about this, you know.
Yeah. And that is kind of frightening too, you know, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't looked, and I meant to. Have they still even done anything out in Flint, Michigan yet? I didn't think they did the last time I checked.
No.
It's still, and that's really bad. Even the kids, I mean, the kids especially, you know, shouldn't have to deal with contaminants in their drinking water.
It can also be found in fruits and vegetables contaminated by the ground in which they were grown. Lead from pipes can accumulate in the soil, as well as from lead paint, residue from leaded gasoline used before 1980, and other sources. This is also a reason why candies and food can end up with lead in them, and spices, because the raw materials may have contained lead. Work exposure is also a major source of lead poisoning in the adult population. Radiation shields, like those used in hospitals for x-rays, contain lead. Ammunition, circuit boards, some surgical equipment, plumbing, engines, and ceramic glazes may contain lead. And I remember, like, flake white oil paint was also the one that contained lead. Car mechanics, lead miners and smelters, plumbers, people working in glass and construction or with batteries, people working at firing ranges, and plastic manufacturers may all be at risk. Lead is also in the environment from occupational sites. People living near such sites or eating food grown in some areas may be at risk. It may be found in the air and household dust, in the soil, in water, and commercial products and foods. Blood levels between 25 and 60 milligrams per deciliter can cause neuropsychiatric effects. The effect on IQ has often been cited, but it also causes delayed reaction times, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and mental health symptoms such as depression, short-term memory loss, fatigue, sleep problems, and headache. In very high levels, brain swelling, delirium, coma, and seizures can result. And the effects, or anemia, can be caused because lead interferes with the delta aminolevulinic acid dehydratase, or ALAD, used in the synthesis of heme, the cofactor found in hemoglobin. Renal insufficiency can be caused by environmental lead exposure, and it may be involved with coronary heart disease and stroke, but limited information is available on these. It can affect the reproductive systems by reducing sperm count, can cause miscarriages, low birth weight, and other associated problems in the case of pregnancy. An infant's blood lead levels are usually similar to those of the mother. It can also be passed on through the breast milk.
Okay.
The brain is the most sensitive to lead of all the organs. In the developing brain, lead can interfere with the development of neurotransmitters. It can cause loss of the neuron's myelin sheath, reduction in the amount of neurons, and decreased neuronal growth. The brain's volume may also be decreased. Developmental disabilities occur more frequently. The effect on cognition takes place even at very low levels of lead exposure. The rate of depression and anxiety are increased, and permanent impairment of central nervous system function are associated with lead. ADHD and antisocial behavior are very common. Aggression and violence increases, and it has been theorized that the high violent crime rates in the U.S. are explained by lead, from 65 to 90%. Preschool blood lead levels are associated strongly with later crime in life. Whole body lead can be measured through X-rays, and basophilic stripping of the dots in the red blood cells can be seen with a microscope. Iron deficiency anemia is associated with lead poisoning. The measurement of blood level does not give the actual amount that's stored in the body. It only indicates recent exposure. There is treatment, but it's, the treatment for lead poisoning consists of dimercaprol and succimer and chelation therapy, but prevention is very important because long-term damage can already have been done by the time it's diagnosed.
But like, how much prevention can you really do at this point when it's literally in everything? Yeah, like you can only do so much. Mm-hmm. And this seems like one of those situations that, yeah. So.
Like, people are already fucked, basically.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah. So therapies to remove lead from the body may only help to prevent additional damage being done from the lead in the body. And I've also read things about vitamin C and things being good for lowering the impact or something.
Okay. So there are ways to counter it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To some extent, unless it's
right.
severe. But yeah, I will put links in the description for various things that I've looked up here. The use of lead greatly increased from the 17th century on, leading to increased issues with human lead poisoning. The issue is not just limited to Flint, Michigan, after they changed water sources in 2014, though. That was 2014, and then here in Pennsylvania, 9.37% of children tested for lead show a lead level of 5 micrograms per deciliter or higher. The Washington Post called Pennsylvania the most egregious example in the nation outside of Michigan. Flint's issues seem to be mostly tied to a single event, the changing of the water source, but the lead levels in PA have been dangerously high, and this is not often reported on in the news. People are, totally unaware of it and probably think that lead somehow went away when we took it out of gasoline in 1980.
Right.
And this is, in particular areas, I think, also.
Right.
While the infrastructure has been replaced in many places, lead remains a problem. It's been stated many times over the years when mass shootings were in the news, the problem is not with the guns, but with the mental health issues. So maybe the people have just been exposed to a large amount of lead over the years because it's, not just associated with mental illness, which does not necessarily cause violence, but with irritability and anger, violent outbursts and such, crime, antisocial
testosterone.
behavior. And then they happen to pick up a gun when they...
Right.
So that doesn't help matters if a person is already in that state.
Right.
So this is not suggesting any way to stop current violent crimes, but awareness of a potential reason for violent behavior is an important factor in minimizing the violence. It could be lead in addition to cultural and economic factors. So blood lead tests can be done via taking blood or via a finger prick. They range in cost, but some may be quite inexpensive, so it's worth asking if you're concerned. For adults, up to 10 micrograms a deciliter are considered normal, and above that you may be being regularly exposed. At 80 micrograms a deciliter, you may require treatment, but only a doctor can give you this information on how to proceed. The prominent methods are chelation therapy, nanoencapsulation, N-acetylcysteine, NAC, And a number of antioxidants may also help in the removal of lead from the body, which is why I was talking about vitamin C and such.
Yeah, it is. No, it really is because, once again, like, citing everything that it's in, including the air around us, depending on where, you might live. If you're in an industrial area, you live near that, you're going to have contamination in your air and stuff. And so it is really disturbing to think that, it's in your food. It's in
your spices,
well, yeah,
Damn it.
yeah, it's in your spices, it's in candy.
It's in the candies.
Yeah, it's crazy. It could be in the water, it's crazy.
Pulparindos are delicious though, and they made these like soft ones, like caramely ones, and and they all have chili powder in them, and my guess is it's probably like in the chili powder,
Right.
that's being used, and that sucks.
And once again, my grandfather used to encourage me to chew on lead line sinkers when I was a kid, and that's just, that's still one of the things is like horrifies me. I'm like, why? Why did you do that?
That's why I'm buying all these supplements. I'm like,
yeah, right.
Well, I've talked to my endocrinologist and such, and like she prescribed me vitamin D. That's unrelated, but that's osteopenia, not being in the sunlight. So you should take vitamin D if you're not in the sunlight. And
I have vitamin D supplements that my doctor has me taking. Yeah, once a week I do the vitamin D because I am a gargoyle.
Mm-hmm. Also more important for women and people in certain ethnic backgrounds and such.
Right.
Like Asians, I think. But yeah, vitamin C I've been taking also. I remember taking those little candy ones. They were like candies, but they were like little, like Smarties or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's crazy how it's in everything, once again, and how, you can get monitored for it. That is one way, of finding out. And, yeah, I'll have to find, like I said, the one article that was the gas companies talking about, when they had leaded fuel. They found like memos or something, because they would tell people, oh, it's safe, and no. As we determined, it's like combusting it and spewing it out and through the air, and people are breathing it, and it's not safe. And and they actually knew that, but in order to sell it, they lied. And I will find that link for you, send it to you.
Right, and I went through some of the health impacts, and I watched a lot of things on that and read some articles, but there are also some good YouTube videos that go like really in depth into the Flint situation and into did this cause the fall of the Roman Empire and things like that. So we'll link those.
Well, didn't the Roman Empire also, in addition to putting lead in the wine, but didn't they also have like the plumbing that they had for the city was crude lead pipes?
Yeah,
so it was like
it's been said that contributed as well, probably.
Right.
So just everybody
update your
went
infrastructure.
nuts and became violent and antisocial.
Right.
And
it's weird. Because like indoor plumbing, it is a modern convenience that I thoroughly enjoy. But update your infrastructure.
Yeah, people like Caligula make sense now. In retrospect, going nuts and such.
I think there is also some other things wrong there too, but
Yeah, just like a constellation of wrongness going on.
Yes. Yes.
And these factors would not have helped.
Right. And in Jamie's mind theater, Caligula is still Malcolm McDowell.
Of course, yeah.
Sorry. So besides reading about lead, what else have you been doing this during our break from the last time?
Oh, just working on more stuff and reading philosophy books and making videos on those and such. And I'm going to be taking a class with my old philosophy professor on the book of Genesis.
I have not been as productive. I watched, but I did watch Peacemaker on HBO Max, and dude, Never thought I'd be like, I really like John Cena, but I really like John Cena, and it's fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So if you have HBO Max and you haven't watched the new James Gunn The Suicide Squad, you should check that out, and then check out Peacemaker because it's really good.
And also been helping out with like editing and such on Schizoid Ang's channel, so I will link that also. So
You have been way more productive than I have, but I started a new job, so I am. That's what has been going on with me. I'm not a bartender anymore. At least, we're not being lazy. We're trying, but life has been pretty hectic for both of us lately.
but yeah, check out our store and our Etsy shop and such, and we have a Patreon, so we can
Yes.
get more materials to work on more things, hopefully in the future. And we're planning to put up more products in the Etsy shop and such.
Thank you for watching, and bye.
Later, friends.